In September of 1938, 600 students ranging from kindergarten to high school arrived for their first day of classes at a new school on the Indiana University campus. Built at a cost of $702,000, this massive structure was one of the most imposing structures on campus. Inside the building, the principal, C.O. Dahl, insisted that the type of instruction offered was to be anything but imposing or even modernistic. Instead, it was to provide a very down-to-earth learning environment. This was even more surprising given that this new university school was to be a laboratory school. A modern concept in schools, this institution provided instruction for the enrolled students as well as instruction for college students aspiring to become teachers. Staffed with 50 full-time faculty, 75 student instructors, and another 50 college student participants, this school promised to offer quality instruction. The facility itself offered innovative concepts in school construction and furnishings. Among these were acoustical tile on all ceilings, observation rooms, classrooms 20 to 50% larger than normal, ramps instead of stairs for kindergartners, movable desks, a 360-seat auditorium, and dining rooms off the kitchen so that students might entertain their mothers for afternoon tea. From this unique beginning, Youth School's first chapter was written. Sobering headlines on the events that followed would change their lives drastically. As their teachers, classmates, and parents went off to military camps and overseas assignments, they tried to do their part on the home front. At University School, clubs swung full force into defense work. The Defense Council was organized, and the Victory Corps, a statewide high school organization, became a part of the student council activity to aid the war effort. Though these years were marked by the chaos of war and personal sacrifices, Youth School survived and continued to offer quality instruction and services to the community. In the junior high class, there was a young rascal named Dick Herman who seemed a little stronger, a little taller, had a bit more skill in athletics than the other students. He continued into high school where Pop Schooler chose him as a regular on the varsity basketball team, even though he was just a sophomore. It was Al Herman who led UHS through record victories to the regional championships and, even more importantly, to multiple victories over BHS. But then disaster hit. Al collapsed at practice. It was spinal cancer that paralyzed his legs, and it took only a year for Al to relapse into a coma and death. The jovial gas station attendant at 3rd and Jordan responded to the grief of his friends, teachers, and student body by establishing the Al Herman Award.
Put your left foot out, do the bunny hop, 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 hop. Dance is new creation, it's the new sensation. Do the bunny hop, 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 hop. All join in the fun, father, mother, son. Do the bunny hop, 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 hop. put your right foot out, do the bunny hop, 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 hop. Dance this new creation, it's the new sensation. Do the bunny hop, 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 hop. All join in the fun, father, mother, son. Do the bunny hop, 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 hop. Do 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 do.
Hey, big man, she little woman, have matrimony and a medium son. His feet too big for the bed, his feet too big for the bed. No can sleep double, got plenty trouble. His feet too big for the bed. He big and fat, she little and fat. He like big dogs, she likes small pussycat. Got no room for medium son. Send him to school for education.
UHS has always been a leader in academics and scholarship. But one of the most unique traditions found at UHS was in the area of the symbolism associated with being a senior. Only in the state of Indiana could you find high school seniors dressed in corduroys that were lavishly painted with images and signs that celebrated this unique rite of passage.
Many things have changed in this spot, this corner, since University School was constructed in 37-38. The school to our back was started in the 37-38 era. There was a service station here, Linco Ohio Oil Company. It was moved to the northeast corner. To our south, there was Brummett's Drug Store, the Ednire Golf Service Station, Bartlett's Grocery Store, Kinser Cleaners, the Cheddar Box or Herbs. Then later came on the southeast corner, major drive-in there for all of us, Fergie's. We're standing here what was a recreation softball diamond for the school, and the first football team practiced in here amongst what was Willa's at that time. The service station that many will remember on the other side, the Isom's Marathon. Later, the service station on the other corner here, Barnard's DX, which was on the southwest corner of 3rd and Jordan. But today we see a lot of maples and the area has changed.
The first year we started was the fall of 1947, and there were several people very interested in us obtaining a team, and so probably the most influential person was Bo McMillan, who was the Indiana University football coach, and his son, of course, was on our first team, and he was pretty much instrumental in getting this thing started. He helped provide the equipment, which happened to be the material we wore, was what the IU team won the Big Ten in 1945. And so a lot of us that played, we knew whose IU jerseys they were, whose shoulder pads they were. It was kind of nice incentive. But Bo was the one who was instrumental in helping obtain Charlie Armstrong, Hank Deck, and Chuck Sanders as 3 student teachers who got their student teacher experience by coaching our first team. And this was in the fall of 1947. Some of our team members had rather unique situations, and for instance, about 3 of them on that first team lived in Crane, Indiana, at the Naval Depot down there, and were brought up every day by a Navy bus and brought to U School, and this is where they attended the high school, yet they lived in Crane. And a couple of the students, I think also at that time, lived near Nashville. A lot of us rode the school bus because we lived in rural area around Bloomington, so it was kind of an interesting way of getting home at night after practice. Not at all like school is today. But on the opening kickoff of the first game this school ever had, Jerry McMillan ran the opening kickoff for, I would say, at least 70, 75 yards. It probably was longer, we thought, and ran it for a touchdown. So kind of a unique experience for school history. The first time you have the ball, you score. We fortunate enough to have won that ball game. After our first year of football in the school, we obtained, or I should say the school obtained, a full-time football coach, a gentleman by the name of Dr. Walter Gray. And he was here at the University School for many years. As today he is in the Indiana Hall of Fame, this is where most of his coaching career was taking place here at the University School.
Eventually, the combined growth of both the School of Education and University High School mandated a move to a new building. The class of '63 was the last class to graduate from the old building on Jordan, and during spring break of 1964, the move to the new campus at 10th and the Bypass was accomplished.
When you left me all alone at the record hall, told me you were going out for a soda pop. You were gone for quite a while, half an hour or more. You came back and man, this is what I saw. Lipstick on your collar, told a tale on you. Lipstick on your collar, said you were untrue. Bet your bottom dollar, you and I are through. 'Cause lipstick on your collar, told a tale on you, yeah.
Heavenly shades of night are falling. It's twilight time. Out of the mist, your voice is calling. 'Tis twilight time. When purple-colored curtains mark the end of day, I'll hear you, my dear, at twilight time. Deepening shadows gather splendor as day is done. Fingers of night will soon surrender the setting sun. I count the moments, darling, till you're here with me. Together at last at twilight time.
Through an experiment of Indiana University that lasted 33 years, there was a great society of wonderful kids who spent their critical years in these wonderful halls, be it in the original building on Jordan or at 10th and the Bypass. Through the years, a marvelous faculty committed their time and intellect preparing us for what opportunities that lay ahead. Their devotion allowed for friendships and respect that last to this day. This history makes us unique, and it is because of that that we will forever be grateful that we had the opportunity to be an important part of it.
Well, I student taught here for my undergraduate degree in music education. And after I student taught, the gentleman, of course, who was my practicum teacher here, left, and they offered me the job. I gladly took the job because I really enjoyed student teaching here. And, of course, at that same time, I was working on my master's degree and graduate assistant in the jazz department at Indiana University, plus I was playing first trumpet for Al Cobain. It was a joy to teach here, it really was, because this school, first of all, the students here were wonderful. They were intelligent, they wanted to learn, they were very creative, very open-minded, hard workers. And the faculty, it's a very creative faculty. They worked together, supported each other, had vivid imaginations, and of course, Dr. Astrike and all the other administrators let the faculty do their thing. There was a freedom here for you to do some experimentation, to try new things, and it worked. I mean, when you think of the people who graduated from this high school and what they went on to be and do is amazing. Everyone worked together, and the coaches, athletic department came and said, hey, do you think any chance of getting a marching band for the game? I said, well, I'm not a great marching band person. I was in the Army for 3 years. I said, I'll see what I can do. So I talked to the kids, and they said, yeah, let's give it a go. So we did. It was rather primitive, but it worked. We didn't bump into each other. And so we prepared one show. I said, I'll give you one show. So we prepared one show. And of course, the night of the football game, it rained cats and dogs, rained out the show. And I said, you know, we've really worked hard on this. And they said, well, we're going to have a little pep rally, and the band can march the show in the gym for the students. So we got that.
For 32 years, Callis sponsored the University High School National Honor Society. And in 1976, the middle school at 10th and the Bypass initiated an honor society for 8th graders in his honor. To this day, Thurston Awards are given on Honors Day to the Tri-North's top 8th graders. The original teachers included grade school teachers who had left Elm Heights to come to university school. It was Ada Fraley, Angela Mensing, Carolyn Wildrick, Elizabeth Means, and Bess Miner. From Bloomington High School, we got Ruth Alexander for Dean of Girls and Latin. Blanche Wellens came too as English department head. Ruth was also in charge of the Honor Society for a couple of years. Then Kenneth took over until he left. Clem Booker also was an original teacher of physical education for boys.
And you live in Bloomington? And you didn't know?
was on our
Yeah, because I remember your name.
So it's not like it.
Well, that's really rude.
And David mailed me a copy of his.
Who knows? It might have been on purpose. I don't know. My brother got one. Yeah. I said, oh, God, Pam, don't invite her.
Well, when I first looked at the names out of though, I said to my husband, I said, I don't know any of these people.
Yeah, I didn't either. Yeah.
No.
Who's that?
Very strange. This guy with the camera. So, no, I tell her about the slumber parties when we discussed religion. She goes, you did what?
Oh, my God.
Oh, yes.
That's all. Oh, yeah.
Well, no. That's,
was that religion?
but that one I remember was in Claudia's basement. Yes.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
And I just love it now with all the food warnings about refrigeration and all that. And I said, we got up every morning at a slumber party and ate the cold pizza.
Whatever
and sit
was
on the
left,
counter
yes.
all
And none
night.
of us died.
Nope.
No. Not from
There
that.
a couple we've lost.
Yes.
We had to eat Easter eggs the night, well, we didn't, but the parents did
The
them
night before? Yes.
And we got them the next day, we ate them. Yeah.
Maybe it's just we had better eggs then.
I don't know.
But that was in the early family. Somehow they were tied in with a past, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Your mind, I suppose. That's right. And that's what does.
Well, my cousin Janet Wise, had worked with someone else and gotten a whole list of people. There's nothing about them except their names when they were born. And that's what I didn't even know that existed because I didn't know many of them.
Well, we were.
Now, Eleanor is as she always has been.
Been in a wheelchair for I don't know how many years.
She physically she can't do much, but that mind is as active as it ever was, and she's as in charge as she ever was.
Yeah, right.
But my understanding is that then they have almost 2 in-house people around the clock.
This is a 1887 Rudge high wheel bike, 54-inch wheel. You can see right here it says Rudge Limited, the Rudge Coventry, made in Coventry, England, 54 meaning the wheel size. You see the brake is a double lever brake straight onto the rubber of the wheel. And if you come on down to the hub, you'll see that it has the patent date for the bearings, 1878. Rudge invented this bearing, roller bearing style. Before that, they didn't have roller bearings. They just had bushings rubbing against metal to metal with oil, and that's the little cover for the oil hole. This bike has been restored. It was found in a barn in Monon, Indiana, in '94, and was restored in England from '95 to '97, and then I rode it from York, England to Appenzell, Switzerland in '97.
This is a cheap imitation chicken bagpipe. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're going to hit the one note. No, you're supposed to hit the same note and hold it. It doesn't sound like a bagpipe otherwise. And that, now you have heard...
And now I became Johnny One Note. Here, just when I was getting good at it.
And this is a junior Foster, Ike Foster, who grew up the same block I did. Well, he didn't grow up, I did, despite it. And he played the cornet at B. Evers. Well, that was a cornet, wasn't it? Well, it sounded like a cornet, and he used to always say, B. Evers will humble with his vocalist line. And we'd leave our windows up in the summer because
This 1998 all-school reunion for University High School was a development of the original dream that some UHS graduates had about 6 years ago. Now that dream led to a huge ice cream social on the front lawn of the high school just before the original building was to be changed into another building for the music school. And of course that had already been altered to accommodate the education department years ago when the high school was moved to 10th and the Bypass. Now from this party, this ice cream social, we got a good start on names and addresses. And then 4 years ago, we had the first all-school reunion to which we had about 420 attendees. In 1998, however, we had about 430. And lots of fun was had by everybody. Now we have a better list of names, and we do plan to have another UHS reunion, all-school reunion.
Could you, this thing's not working. Could you all be quiet for just 1 minute, please? I know you're all hungry, you want that salad, you want all that dressing on it, but this is one lady that needs to be applauded, praised, because this is who made it happen. And the committee wants to present Judy with a little token.
and looked up the names of the ones that are no longer here, and I had flashbacks of these kids, classmates, friends, and teachers that helped us get to the point where we are now. Then I opened my yearbook, and I leafed through those little goodies, you know, like you write to each other, and had a couple of chuckles of the things that were written in here. Enjoyed it very much. Other members of the faculty that also in my life and my personality is listening. Frank Smith. Virgil Schooler. Philip Peake. And then I came to one class, one picture, one person that was very, very familiar to me. The name of the picture was A. Snow. I understand you're pretty strict, is that correct? You can stay for a few moments in silence to maybe have these memories come alive for these people no longer not be here, but be here with us in our hearts. So have you stand for a few moments, please. We thank you. You see here, please.
At this juncture, I'm going to represent all the alums because I think flowers and thank yous need to be laid at the feet of the fabulous committee for this reunion. And most of them had served on the first reunion. Our party this year went from an AM tour of Bloomington to an afternoon ice cream social and tour of the old school, and then a dinner in the evening. So the accolades go to Janet and Don Donham, to Becky and Fred Gregory, and to Jane Hatchell, to Frank Pruitt and David Rowland, and Marion Stout, Becky Appleman, Bill Hinkle, Eleanor Caulfield, and Sarah Jane Costas. And there are many from the community that deserve our thanks, especially the Monroe County Convention Bureau and the Monroe County Historical Society, Ellis Floral, ASP Printing, and the Sage Collection from IU. And by the way, our donations to the North High School Pep Ensemble went toward getting the full band to the Rose Bowl parade.
I think the most fun I had was seeing parents of my students come in and teach my classes.
How did that happen?
Well, I went to a conference, and the substitute I had couldn't teach the classes, which I think the students scared her, so 3 mothers came in and taught my classes for a week while I was gone.
We had a band concert scheduled on a Sunday afternoon, and of course we had a regulation or a rule or what have you that anybody who missed a concert would get an F or a grade that next month. My first chair clarinet player forgot the time and was taking his mother and grandmother for a tour around the city during the concert. So I had to, unfortunately, give him an F. He forgave me later on.
The Wiley table with Bud Wiley, class of 52, Sharon Wiley, 55, Bob Wiley, 57, and the king, the youngest, Bill, 61.
Class of 44, but class of 45, Shirley Morrow. Peggy, turn around, and I'm telling him this is only for class of 44.
What do you remember about the class of 44? Story or anything?
Help, lots of slumber parties. A lot of slumber parties at Gregory's, at Mary and Fred Gregory's house, their parents' home. Come on, girls, help. What else do you remember?
And what did you do at those slumber parties? Watch television?
Told the boys. Told the boys. We didn't have television, Dave. We listened to Frank Sinatra and crooned and tuned or whatever over Frank Sinatra. Thank you.
If the university doesn't cultivate you and you stay in touch, they have done that good job.
Yeah, they call me every year.
Well, yeah, but that's for the telethon. I mean, I'm talking about a real thing, which we're doing a better job of now. But the university never really did. Like the Ivy League.
I was a hard nut to crack.
Is he here tonight?
So Dennis Nordby was the real ominous presence, and he used to walk around with his toothpick. And so I came down the stairs, and I was, Mr. Nerd Wimpy, person. Oh my God, how you doing?
Dr. Bob.
Yes, right. Good to see you. Let me finish this story since I'm on tape.
It's all right.
We don't want to edit.
And so I made the mistake of saying what I thought. I said, "Is that your pacifier, David?"
Oh, dear.
And I thought he had enough momentum where he wasn't going to turn around, and so I kept on going. Then he grabbed me, and he just really walloped me and laid me flat on my back as I was walking out the door. And said, "You don't ever give me any of your lip anymore, Sonny." That was the peak of my physical confrontation at U School.
I have a story about back in '63 when I played at University High School, and we were playing in one of the first of the season games, and Walter Gray, our coach, our famous Walt Gray, I made history for him, and I was probably the first and only one at University High School that ran 85 yards the wrong way. Dr. Ritchie, I'm sure, was there to watch it all.
How did that happen?
Well, the coach was yelling one way, and I was thinking the other, and the team went one direction and a fumble, and I picked a fumble up and ran, and everybody was cheering, but the only problem was it was cheering from the wrong team and the wrong side of the field, and I just got messed up and took off, and there I was.
Did the scoring count?
Yes, it did for the other team, and I was benched from that point on. But I want to apologize to Walter Gray at this point and say we still had a great time, and it was fun. U-School was great.
Who did you have a crush on?
Dougie Dixon.
Oh, where?
That it would take me a long time to think of anything. It was ancient memory. I really have to think long and hard to think of a good anecdote. I think graduating was something significant. That's my best anecdote. Not very funny, but a surprise to me.